Welcome to the Sabaw podcast.
Right.
Today we're here with RITA Nazareno, Emmy Award-winning producer formerly of Fox 11, and Creative Services Director of an NBC affiliate in Houston.
Yes.
And also Creative Director of SC Vizcara Bags.
Right.
Welcome to the
Zacharias
Sabaw podcast.
1925.
There you
is
go.
yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you also for having me.
Yes, you've had a wide and varied career.
Absolutely.
Could you, coming from a family with a tradition of, more of a creative background, was there always that pressure that you had to go into the family business?
Pressure? There's no pressure in this life. No, of course. There's
An expectation
never.
then.
I don't think, sometimes you put pressure on yourself, but not really. It was always been, my mom had always wanted me to come back home. I had left in 1986. So I went to high school in Hawaii, did college in the States. And then there was really no pressure to come back. It was like, you know what, we support you, whatever you want to do, which I'm very, very thankful for. I'm very fortunate to be in the family that I'm in. And, when I was at Fox 11, and then I was at the NBC affiliate in Houston.
Did Fox 11 come before Houston?
It did,
Okay.
yes. And then my mom just started calling. Just come home now. Even when I was in LA at Fox, my mom was always like, just come home now, I'm kind of tired.
Oh, okay.
And then...
And take over.
Yeah, of course. I was like... and then
Having fun
then
here.
finally there was one point where sometimes there's just a culmination of events in your personal life, in your whatever, that you just say, okay. I wasn't, I think I was more surprised than my mom when I said yes, but I did. And then I said, you know what, let me do a master's, and that was my second master's, in London College of Fashion. So I did that, and
As
then
a
I came
prep
home.
work.
Yes.
But you were exposed to the business even before.
That's right. Yeah, I was like at 5 years old. We were living in the flagship store, which is SC Vizcara, the Vizcara building on United Nations Avenue. It now houses the Vizcara Pharmaceutical. And that was also that was put up in 1988 as an homage to my grandmother, who died from liver cirrhosis. So now that's a pharmaceutical, but before that used to be the flagship store. So we had the first 4 floors was the store, and then we lived on the top floor.
Okay.
So, and at the time, this was the 70s, we used to have busloads of Japanese tourists coming.
Oh.
Like busloads, guys.
Looking for arts and
Arts and crafts. They would go to the beaches. They would go. They would buy. There would be like lines. So us, like 4 or 5 years old. My brothers were a bit older. My sister was a bit older, and there would be like lines snaking through, and I'd be like in the back by the cashier, and I'd be like putting the paninda in like
items.
little bags and
Right,
stuff.
right.
So that's pretty cool.
Bagging.
I mean, yeah. So we were very young and then our summers were spent. We had also retail outlets in Guam and Hawaii. My Lola loved Hawaii.
Okay.
SC Vizcara
Beautiful
herself.
place.
And she had a great affinity, a connection to Hawaii. So we had a house and a few stores there. And so summers we would spend it there, and the kids, 5 kids, and we'd be like in the stores for like doing inventory or just kind of sitting there. And so so it wasn't like all, but yeah, so that was our
So,
life.
how did you find yourself in broadcast? Because I can't imagine that it would have been easy.
Yeah. And it seems like you have a lot of intersections, like there's architecture, there's media, and then there's
Yes.
fashion.
Yes. Well, I was a kid, and I think maybe at around 8, if I'm not mistaken, or 9, and I'd always been enthralled with see-through, eye-to-eye, the Tolanda Ibalita. Like, and, I remember, I'm pretty sure I watched live when Divina Valencia just made poke the head off with a microphone of Ray de la Cruz. I remember
On
that.
the air?
There.
And then you would find
Scandal.
out how, because she would interview directors and
Yeah.
artistas
Yes.
and actors and
Do
so
blind,
that's
blind items.
always
Oh.
been interesting to me.
She was our Oprah.
Yeah. So,
She had
and
an
then
amazing voice.
yeah, before Korea was so popular now, she was like, "Sarang namin na po." Diba? That was in the Badida. If I'm not mistaken, I think her father was an ambassador to Korea.
Oh, she was?
And that's why she did it.
That actually
I
makes some
stand
kind of
corrected,
sense.
but something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what interested me in doing. And then I had met my mother had such wonderful friends who kind of mentored me. Checha Lazaro
Oh.
was one day, she went to high school with my mom.
Fantastic.
They actually were in a singing group called the Ribbonettes. So,
Wow.
anyway.
Were they a professional group or just something they did
No,
out
it
of
was
school?
they were in school and they sang.
I'm sure
You
some
know,
people
it's-
would pay good money to see
Yeah.
that footage
I would
of
pay good
Checha
money.
Lazaro.
Yeah.
Or to hear
So
it,
yeah,
yeah.
it's funny. My niece is here, and her dad is the inaanak of Tita Chacha, and then also Kichi Benedicto Paulino was I was a PA for a few of her telemovies pa nun eh.
Telemovies yan.
Di ba?
Hindi pa telenovelas.
Hindi pa telenovela, telemovie pa nun eh. It was like a 2-hour thing that they would have. So that's actually how I started.
And how much of what you learned was applicable in the American setting?
Yeah.
Oh, a lot of it. And and you were saying there's a connection everywhere. I remember my lolo saying, you know what? Kailangan pakainin lahat ng tao. Unahan, the workers, your workers need to eat first before you. Make sure that you feed them well. And I did that whether I was here working in, I was an assistant director for a Fed Seal commercial. Yung pangtapal ng yero.
Okay.
I did it all, man. So,
All right. Talk about earning your stripes.
Yeah. So,
Work your way
so
up.
that, unahan, same thing happened in the States when I started doing production work. Una lahat, talagang may petty cash ka for food, for craft services, and my crew members would have to eat before me, and
Baliktad
and you'll see that eh. You have to,
dito.
diba?
Yeah.
Diba?
Oh, naman.
So-
You gotta take care of your people.
Yeah, so gotta take care of them. So
Did you enjoy the rush? of
I
production?
loved it. And it's funny when I first got to Fox, I wasn't I got there. I was actually I moved from San Francisco to LA. I didn't have a job. I was an audiovisual technician.
Okay. So you had skills though.
I did.
Marketable skills.
My bachelor's was communication arts with a television production emphasis
so
from
something.
Loyola Marymount. Then I did a master's in San Francisco on film and video. And so after I became a technician and an AV tech.
Incredible. You have worked every
And then,
side.
kasi nagtatape
Linear-
ako ng mga
linear
kable
editing.
sa floor. and then, I started.
Linear editing.
Oh my gosh, yeah. The AB
Madugo.
roll pa.
Okay.
Magre-rewind ka. And then, so anyway, and then I had an extra job, which was, I was a cashier at Urban Outfitters. So I had those 2 jobs. I found myself like
Did you ever
mopping
sleep?
floors at one time, and I was like, oh my gosh.
And not
And then-
the idea of the LA life.
But you gotta work for it.
Okay.
And then I faxed pa no, wala pang
Oh, yeah,
email.
fax.
I faxed maybe 100 resumes. I got 2
in
replies.
return. Okay.
One of them was a temp agency, and
Okay.
another one was Fox 11.
So you went with Fox.
And the guy who interviewed me was the programming and publicity director. His name was John Frenzel,
Okay.
and he said, "You know what? This is like a part-time job, 3 days a week, 4 hours a day. There's no production work.
No
You're
production.
overqualified." And I said, "I'll take it.
Yeah.
If you give
To
it,
start.
if you offer it to me, I'll take it."
To get your foot in the door.
What's your
yeah.
position though?
It was a publicity and programming assistant.
PA siya.
And you found your way into
Yeah.
production anyway.
And then, so he hired me. 3 months later, he promoted me to a full-time position. And, I just rolled after that. And I started, and then I got promoted again and again. And I moved. The thing was, I hope I did well in publicity for them, that they asked me. And then my boss, my GM, came one time and he said, "So what's your story?" He came to my office. I already had an office. He came and he was like, "What's your story, Vita?" Because we were kind of whatever saya there.
Okay.
And then I had a U-matic tape of my reel, the 3/4 inch.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Oh my
then
God.
so I said, "Oh, you want to see what I used to do?"
Yeah.
So I put one in. I put it in, and it was, I showed a little bit of this music video that I directed, and do not laugh. I'm sure you're gonna judge. No, no, it was. I did. I directed a music video for Martin Rivera in 1995, maybe. I think it was called
Okay.
"You Are My Song."
Okay.
So in
Okay,
any
we'll
case, so I
definitely
did
note
that.
that
Yes,
one
we
down.
will.
Yes.
Maybe you shouldn't. And then he saw it and he was like, "Dude, that's in film.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude, you've got a crane." I'm like, "Yeah, I shot in the Philippines." Puta kalatagan, man.
Oh, crane. Crane shot.
Crane.
Na yun,
But I
drone
was
shot
like,
mo.
"What?" He was like, "You should be in production. You should be in creative services." I was like, "Okay."
Galing
So,
kausap.
so
Alright.
he got my part of my job
Yeah.
from the publicity and programming and brought it to creative services. And then from there, again, I started in the very bottom. I was the promotions assistant naman.
Wait, so you
Finally, after a year, they said, "Why don't you produce your own? Do one. I
Oh.
want to see."
Okay.
And that was
and
news.
it did well. That was for
That
news,
was for
yeah.
news.
Because at the time we had sweeps periods.
Yep.
And then so I got one. My boss was like, "What?" And then so I started producing.
Yeah.
And then they made me senior producer, and then
And you were hooked. You were addicted.
I was.
Wait,
Yeah.
I have a question. You were just carrying around your reel with you everywhere you went?
It was in my office. He came into my office.
Yeah,
He
Hindi
came
siya
into
yun,
my office, so, you have a TV, you have a U-matic
Yeah.
machine there.
Right.
Of course you're gonna have it there. You don't know where you're gonna have it, in your house. No, you have it in your office.
Wala naman.
Diba? So
When did Houston? It's after.
Houston, so that same GM had left for a company called Post Newsweek, which was owned by the Grahams, Don Graham, the anak of Catherine Graham.
yeah.
Washington
Yeah,
Post.
Washington
Right.
Post, yeah.
They had, if I'm not mistaken, 6 or 8 TV stations across the United States. So that guy, Dave Boylan, the GM, had left for Miami, and we had become close and whatever. And, and by the way, until now, I'm friends with John Frenzel. I'm friends with Dave.
Fantastic.
I see the women, Adrian Anderson, Crystal Mix. I still see these lovely women and strong women that have mentored me. I see them in LA when I'm there. So in any case, Dave had said, "I'm not done with you yet." So I said, yeah. So he calls me a couple of years later and says, "Why don't you come work for me in Miami?" I said, "Nah, I'm kind of happy here in LA." Just like, "You sure?" I'm like, yes. Calls me up again a year later. He says, "There's a job for promotions manager
In Houston.
in Houston. It's an NBC station. From senior producer kasi. You become promotions manager after. And then creative services director.
Mm.
And then GM after." So I go, okay. And I was just thinking to myself, after, I kind of want to be a creative services director.
Plus NBC.
After
So why
2
not?
years lang, okay na ako doon. And then, so I said, for me, LA is the top 2 market.
Yeah, just because.
And because it's New York, it's LA. And then there's 250
But
markets.
NBC, that's
Yeah.
a much
Pero
better.
local affiliate
But
lang.
local affiliate yan. So may mga
Community
markets
ano siya.
yan eh.
Uh-huh.
So I said, nah, I'm kind of happy here. For me to be a promo manager
Right.
in LA, I'll probably take like 10, 15 years, if ever.
Yeah.
If that ever happened. So he said, you know what, just go. You and my girlfriend at the time, who he had known, he was like, you guys just go. It's a free trip. It's a really nice hotel. It's like, it's a designer
Just take a
hotel
look,
that
see how it
I
goes.
know you like. It's a boutique hotel that just opened. I go, fine. So I go
That's how
there.
they get
You
you.
know how to sweeten the pot.
So I go there. It's like, fine. I'm like, Houston. Houston's a top 10 market, which is huge also. And then so I meet the managers. I said, okay, my girlfriend, I said, just stay there. So I'll just meet with them. So I met with Larry Blackerby. He was the GM. He had moved there maybe 2 months. The NBC station there in Houston was number 5 out of 5. Like, it was in a bad state. So they had brought in new people. So they brought in Larry, who had known all my other bosses
Right.
before. And then so we sat there for like a couple of hours and like really, to me it was like a best interview. We were just like chatting. He loved sports. I loved sports. He actually, one of his questions was, what do you watch on a Monday night? And I'm
Did you
like,
say football?
I actually said go back and forth between Gilmore Girls and National Football, NFL. And he was like, what? And he goes, that's like two really, that's really funny. You go back and forth between this very female-centric and this very...
Very macho.
Yeah. And I said, well, I'm a big Niners fan. I was like, what? Niners? I'm like, yes, of course, Niners.
Well, you come from the West
So
Coast.
we were like, and then finally he said, well, I'm going to offer you the creative services director job.
Just like that.
Wow. All
What?
right.
Skipped a few steps.
Alrighty.
I was like, huh? He was like, yeah, you'll be good at it. I'm like, blah, blah.
We should tell
Were you
people we like
hesitating?
football.
Oh, right.
I was like on
Should
the
watch
phone
more.
with my girlfriend at the time, and I was like, we're moving to Houston.
It's done.
What? Like, I thought you were gonna say no. I'm like, kind
Now
of
I'm
said yes.
Yeah. Changed my mind.
So that's where I went to Houston. It was a fantastic job. By the time I left, if I'm not mistaken, it became a strong number 2
Fantastic.
The Emmy came from NBC.
from
NBC
Fox,
From Fox.
11. Yeah.
How do you win an Emmy?
I don't know.
Yeah. They just give it to you.
No, they're
For future reference.
because there's the primetime Emmys.
Right.
Yeah.
There's the creative arts
Right.
Emmys. There's also
The
Emmys
daytime ones, right?
there's daytime.
Daytime.
There's the Los Angeles area ones that they deal with news.
Wait, there are
Okay.
region-specific
For
Emmys?
community
Yeah,
Emmys.
yeah. So in LA, it's a huge market. So they had that, and they saw my work. It was a juried award.
Mm-hmm.
We shot on film.
Okay.
It was funny, and it was fun at that time in Fox 11. That was the glory years of that station.
What was the winning piece about?
It was there was this morning show called Good Day
Good Day,
LA. And that started kind of all the news being less. It was a very self-deprecating newscast.
Okay.
Because it's in the
Oh,
morning.
okay.
So you started it. Yeah. So you started. No, there's a lot of people who watch. They need to know their weather, their news, their traffic.
Okay.
In one fell swoop.
Right.
And and in the very beginning, it was always been, very news, very
Very
serious.
stoic, very.
At that point, we had 3 fantastic news personalities that just made it fun. People started watching. So the campaigns that we did for them were were also very self-deprecating.
Okay.
So upbeat na siya.
Beat now. We had like
Actually,
I
sounds like
had
fun,
like
yeah.
it's sobrang fun. I had like monkeys. I had capuchin monkeys. I had like
All over the
like
studio.
During the news.
I was like no, but for the
For the promo.
campaigns. But
Okay.
yeah, so and there was it was funny. We did this 1 minute no cut Steadicam
In those
promo
days, wow.
from one side to the other, went through the newsroom, back around. You know, I had monkeys, I had like,
Wow.
you know.
Sobrang bad trip siguro ng camera mo.
No, it was actually the cinematographer was my boss, and
Oh,
he
your
was
boss.
awesome. And you know, I literally did this whole like, I mapped out from the newsroom to the control room to the hallways to the studio. 1 minute.
1 minute.
It's crazy.
Wow.
We had dogs with chihuahuas. We had like, you know, people dressed up as like brides with like, you know, it was just
Was it
crazy.
supposed to be a day in the life?
It was funny, yeah. So you know, that's kind of the craziness of that show, and that kind of showed. So we did all kinds of stuff like that. So that was fun. So yeah.
Okay. So, having done all of that, achieved all of that, and your mother calls.
My mother calls.
Please take us to
No,
2010.
yeah. So in 2008, if I'm not mistaken, or 2009,
Oh,
something like that.
yun na yun.
I don't remember. 2007 maybe, and I just had a managers meeting. It was like a whole weekend, a week with Don Graham of Post Newsweek, the different managers of the different stations. So we went there, and he was talking about family, the importance of family. He was talking about his mother. He was talking, it's fantastic. And I remember my boss and everything, Larry and I were like, yeah, family's pretty important. Oh my God, 2 days later, or something like that, my mother called. And you know,
Speak of.
yeah, and you're also yung parang, I think I was single then or whatever. And then I had said, you know, I was 2 years already with, you know, and it was doing well. Loved the job,
Right.
loved the people. And then she said, why don't you come up? I'm like, you know what, yeah.
That
Just
was,
say yeah.
that was also easy.
Yeah. But you know, yeah.
These are the kinds of conversations.
Yeah.
Ganun yung dynamic.
So I said, you know what, and I'll go to London for a little bit.
Okay.
Well, you know, if you must.
If you must, then come back.
I had a girl in London. I'm kidding.
Oh, okay.
You know, you can
We should do a whole nother podcast
Wow.
about that.
you could always be so serious,
London
but at
years.
the end of the day, it's love that takes you wherever at some point.
Okay.
And maybe it does, and maybe it shouldn't.
Looking back
That's a
on it.
whole different conversation,
Usually
right?
what gets me in trouble.
But you know, but diba? I mean, that's a big thing. I can't. You think about it, and it's like, yeah, you know, it's lovely to say, you know, I went there for, but it's a.
The
It's
bigger
everything
motivation.
else.
Yeah.
It's I don't know if it's a bigger motivation, but it certainly helps.
Certainly helps. Yeah.
Diba? I mean, I can.
I'd imagine.
Studying
I
has
need to
become-
study. So
yeah.
in my head, I needed to study.
Yes.
I had a girlfriend
Study.
in London. Am I gonna go study in New York?
No.
Siguro sa London, diba? I mean, that kind of helps.
Yeah.
You look, are there opportunities there? So you kind of see that there is.
But was it fun? London?
Oh my God, it's such a blast. Diba? I had a
So
blast.
many pubs.
I mean, I had been living in the States for a long time. Almost 20 years.
Yeah, the culture.
Yeah.
The culture was
And then you're
different.
like, you know what? If I was able to do it, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, what am I so scared of anyway? Nothing. Do it. Sige na, go for it. You're young. Okay, I wasn't young. I was in my 30s. Diba?
That's
But
young.
I'm like, why not?
What did you tell your team though? Bye.
I love you guys. No, but you know what?
Love you guys.
No, but I
gotta go.
also said, you know, I needed to do this. I needed to do this for my family.
Mm-mm.
And for myself. I needed to see, you know, my Lola's legacy and my mom's legacy. You can't just... These are the things. S.A. Vizcara was the reason why I was able to
Yeah.
go to school in the States. So in my head, it wasn't like big pressure from the family. It was big pressure on myself to say, you know what? I can't just let it quietly go
Did
away.
you kind of expect it at some time?
Oh, yeah.
Pabalik
That you were
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
take the reins.
Yeah.
Okay.
How
And
did
then
that sit with you though? Were you preparing for it all that time? Or?
I don't know if I was preparing for it, but maybe, yeah.
She's busy winning an
Consciously.
Emmy.
No, it's
Yeah,
just
that
you
too.
know, you're working and you're learning how it is to work with other people, whether from the bottom all the way to when you're dealing with two departments already that is under you, and you know, I mean, I would like to think I'm very creative, but also when it comes to like budgeting, creative services director ka na nga, but oh my god, you need to do the budget. I'm like,
Yeah, that's my
I'm
face
like-
when I need to do like money. No.
Dad, I'm like, can you check this? My dad's a CPA,
Oh,
and
well.
he's
Okay,
he
that
takes it-
helps.
and he was like, send it over. So you know, and I'm like, what do you think of this? And of
SOS.
course, yeah. So I'm like, thank you. You know, but so
Wait,
your
wait.
family is always gonna be there.
How was it? I mean, London was, how was it?
I also
As a
did.
decompression chamber for.
Yeah, I also did maybe a year off
A year
that I
off.
didn't do anything because I
Before.
was tired. So I did a year off where I wrote a couple of scripts. I
Movie script.
yes, I just walked around. I met people. It's fun. You don't get to do that.
No.
I'm lucky enough to be able to, so I did.
Okay.
Diba? And sometimes it's really it's that fear that kind of keeps you where you are. And
It's true.
Being too
I
comfortable.
had no kids. I had no, when are you ever ready anyway?
Yeah,
Diba?
right.
What? When I have this much in the back, I'll just I'll do it. Madapa ka, whatever.
At least you tried.
You know what? You tried. You know. I mean,
That's a very, very brave kind of mindset.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Many people possess it.
to some it's brave. To others, like your mother, it could be stupid.
That seems to be their jobs, though.
Diba?
Exactly.
Sigurado, when my mom says it to me all the time, because I'm like, I gotta live your life, mom. Life is short. And she's like, paano if it's long? Who's gonna pay for all of that?
Tama.
Do you have enough savings? Do you have? I'm like, but also me, if I need to be a barista, I will be a barista. No, if it's an honest paying job,
It's no
then
problem.
it is.
So was it difficult getting back into the saddle? I mean, when you came home, okay, did you just roll up your sleeves, start work? How did that go?
Yeah. And then 6 months later, I got cancer. So that was the
Really
stress
into
of it.
that.
So it was really freaking stressful, man.
Could you?
Diba?
Yeah. Could
I was like coming back to Manila, and I'm like,
Here's your
"This-
homecoming.
Are you serious about this traffic? But I mean, I rag on it, but I have like the best team here. The stuff I've done here, I couldn't do anywhere else. So
It
but
shows
yeah.
in the products.
But
no?
it's also but it's tough. It was tough for me.
Did they know you coming in, or they knew of you?
Oh, you, yeah. But
I mean, but no, they knew me.
They
I
knew
would.
So
I
it's
would
the
be
same.
here,
It's been
I
the
would-
same people for years.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. We have, my uncle's been there for 42 years. He's a cousin of my mom, Uncle Pablo, Tito Pablo, and he does all my prototyping. I cannot do it without him. Or, we have weavers who've been with us 29, 30 years.
I'm gonna know. So
Yeah.
they all know.
Yeah,
Alright,
their
alright.
kids work there already. They're 20, 25 na, their children. So after college or while they're in college, they work there. There's quite a few that are second, third generation. Second generation, there's, we have a family. My cousin Victor is the one who does the
Design,
no, the coloring.
coloring.
Yeah.
Can you take us back to the day you got the news? How did it like? Nagpa-check up ka?
As I was saying, we have pharmaceutical and diagnostic clinic, and so I already knew I had a lump. I had
You
felt
felt
it.
it.
Okay.
And then I was like,
Pero matagal. Medyo matagal.
hindi, but it was there, and I said, I've got a lump. And my girlfriend at the time,
You're taking it well.
yeah, I said, there's a lump. But I mean, if you're a woman, you'll know sometimes you're lumpy. You
Okay.
don't know, it goes away after your period.
Oh, okay.
But then I was like, but it's been there quite a while. So I said, And then
Get that checked.
my girlfriend at the time had said, get it checked. So I went to the clinic, Viscara Diagnostic Clinic. And I had
Just so
it checked. And they
happens.
said, get a ultrasound. I got an ultrasound. The mammogram showed nothing. Showed
Okay.
no malignant lesions. The ultrasound showed this like Oscar the Grouch like head.
Fuzzy.
Yeah. And then so the doctor was like, you know what? You shouldn't worry because there's the mammogram showed nothing. But get a biopsy anyway. You need to get a biopsy.
Okay.
Just want to rule everything out. It's like fine. So the surgeon had worked for Viscara. So they as soon as I got it, I was still out cold. He showed to my mom. He said, this does not look good. So, yeah.
What did your mom say?
They didn't tell me until, it's funny. Usually it's your doctor who tells you.
Yeah.
What happened was they told my mom. And my mom was supposed to tell me. She was supposed to be there. And she couldn't. I think she was too stressed. So she
Okay.
had told my girlfriend at the time to tell me. And
Okay.
and then so I get in, it was Thanksgiving night, and I said, I'm here, what are we gonna have for dinner? She was like,
Oh,
whatever
no.
you want. I'm like,
Wow, that's
That's
no. What did I
"That's
do
you,
wrong?
what's happening? I'm like, well, Korean. So order akong Korean food, blah, blah, blah. Saya-saya ko, good mood. Tingnan Korean food. Kakain ng Kalbi Gym. May umiiyak. Are you okay? We have cancer. I was like, what? So she was the one literally crying, and I'm like, we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay.
Oh wow.
So,
What a
and
scene.
and I knew right there and then, I need to be positive for
Right.
everyone around me, or else it will eat me up alive.
Right.
So, you were kind of there. I was pretty, it's pretty fun, to the point that after my mastectomy 2 days later, my mom calls me up and she goes, you're too happy, huh? I think they're giving you too much
Too
painkillers.
much drugs.
And I'm like, leave my painkillers alone.
I'm sick. Those are
Yeah.
mine.
So I really tried to be very upbeat and very positive the whole entire time. It was after when it got me.
After
At
that.
some point, you need to have some sort of release. It was after when I finally found out I was good, I was better. That my depression sank in. Because you were like,
Was it?
and then what do I do now? And then, oh
was
my
it a
God.
very deep?
It was pretty deep.
It was pretty.
It was pretty deep.
You said in Philstar, one of your interviews, na you believe in the right to live and the right to die.
Yes,
Can you
do.
explain that?
Well, you live.
Is that a perspective shift? After
I
that?
think so. And it's also because I'm okay with my mortality. And it's, you live on your own terms.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe that you can die on your own terms. When you're in a point, and the funny thing is, maybe not funny, but the movie that I had written in that 1 year I was off, when I was in London, was about the right to die. And I still want to do that movie, and it's still very important. And I think mortality shouldn't be or death shouldn't be an issue that you veer away from,
That you skirt around.
or that is possibly a really sad, depressing thing. Because it's not. It could be. It's just a celebration of your next, wherever you're gonna go next. You've already had a good life. I tell that to my mom. I said, Mom, if anything happens to me, don't be so sad. I've had a good life. I did everything I wanted to do.
It's so interesting because Filipino culture treats disease like it doesn't have a healthy relationship with disease. But we're
Yeah.
very upbeat when we're like trying to survive.
Yeah. Right? So I do agree. I mean, certainly a lot of people won't, but they have the right to their own opinions, and so do I. And if I don't want to be, super duper sick and in pain, and and I do understand that there's a big portion of of people who are very religious and think that
Yeah.
you need to suffer.
Yeah.
Right.
There's also people like me who just say, you know what, you don't have to.
Is that something that you've always felt, or is that something that you realized during that time?
Perhaps I've realized that you know, sometimes you do change when things like this happen to you. You have a different perspective. You've kind of been enlightened.
Okay.
Not that
Was
the
there
others
anything
have.
that like the bucket list stuff that you did like?
Actually, I don't have a bucket list. Bucket
Really?
list. It's
Okay.
just things that I've done. Like she cannot
When you want to do it,
this.
let's
Yeah.
just do it.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm at a point in my life where, you know, I've done the career where I was ambitious. I did what I wanted, and I did, and I loved it. And then I did the whole
The family business.
family business, the legacy, the designing, because it's, you know, I mean, that's so different. And I'm kind of proud of the team and the things that we've designed and we've manufactured and that we've produced. Everything is made by hand. How
Yes.
fantastic is that? So I'm at a point where, you know, I've started to teach and mentor, and that's also so important for me now.
Is that satisfying for you? The
Yeah.
education? Passing on
It's
of
just
sorts?
sharing, you know, is so important, I think. And I think that whole education and sharing
Yeah.
information and really instilling passion is what's gonna get this friggin' country and our and the
Oh, yeah.
generation out of the doldrums.
Fingers
Yes,
crossed.
Seriously.
Absolutely.
So we need people like you to like step up and just go, you know what? Whether it's in a school setting, whether it's a setting where you have interns that you're going to mentor, that's so, you know, and you just keep on sharing.
Absolutely.
Just, you know, it's,
Don't keep
yeah,
stuff to
don't
yourself.
keep stuff to yourself. You want the next generation. You want them to think for themselves and maybe do better than you.
We have so much in your legacy, but can you tell us about that movie you're passionate about?
Yeah, so and but for me now, you know, and I've also been saying I really want like a simpler life now. It's always been so chaotic and so nomadic for me.
What is that?
I
The
kind of
simpler.
wanna, yeah, it's
Scaling
just
back.
Decluttering.
scaling back, decluttering, really just having kind of a minimal life, maybe like. So in my head, I want to spend more time in Hawaii. I'm going back to where my Lola loved, where I loved when I was younger at 14. So maybe I'll spend more time there, do some work here, you know, teach here and teach there, do, you know, still continue the Zacarias 1925 line, still do that, still work with S.A. Vizcarra and our team, but kind of scale back and just, you know what, I don't need to be all stressed out all the time.
I need to learn that trick. Just to backtrack a little bit, you mentioned that the depression was bad, that you were in deep. Can you tell us how you got out of it? Because there's been a lot of talk lately about depression. Is it real? Is it not?
Well, it is real.
Tell us. I agree with you,
Yeah.
but you know,
I,
I'm not on
um,
TV, so.
Yeah, you know, there's all kinds. There's a spectrum of this mental health issue. Some people are born with it. Some people, it happens. Some people, there's a lot of times there's really no trigger. So you can't really pinpoint
Yes.
something. The best I think is, you know, be there for someone. Listen, don't judge. Just, you know, you see a friend, you're like, dude, do you want to just stay and watch TV?
And that's
Just the
that,
presence of
Sometimes
somebody.
just the presence alone,
It helps.
you know, it helps.
that's
For you,
what
did it
for
did it
you?
help?
But for me, kasi, yeah, and you know, I meditation,
Oh,
yoga is
Yoga.
huge.
Okay.
I think, because for me, for meditation, kasi you're thinking of something else other than
yeah.
who you are, what you're feeling, what's happening, whatever. It's literally, you're thinking whether it's your breathing, just going in and out, whether it's a singing bowl that's just, you're trying to
Yeah.
just...
Bed and
Diba?
bowl?
It's just really your or whether you're chanting, it's whatever you do. You can do a walking meditation. It's just really focusing on that one particular thing in that particular moment that makes you think of the here and now and nothing else.
Is there a particular kind of meditation that you lean towards? Like, there's a Zen one.
There's
very nice.
and somehow it's different for everyone else. And sometimes, sometimes you'll chant, sometimes you'll just lay down and think of, just look at your breathing.
It's not.
And
PM,
sometimes there's
like
even there's a song that I listen to that
Okay.
and that helps.
the drony stuff.
Yeah. Or sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's just a song.
And what role did your friends play at this time?
My friends,
Yeah, your support system.
yeah.
How
Your
important.
friends are the family that you choose. And the family that is given to yours. You love them dearly. But at some point you also don't want to burden them.
Understood.
There's a difference, diba?
Yes.
It's harder to talk sometimes. It's certainly, this is just my personal experience. Other people is different, and that's why it's so beautiful, because everyone else has their own experience. Not one is better than the other one, so for me, I don't want to bother them. But you know that they were worried about you. I left and went to Hawaii.
Okay.
But yeah, and it was so bad that I didn't think I wanted to come back anymore.
Okay.
I went
That
to
was the
Hawaii
lowest.
to say, in my head, probably to say goodbye to people.
Lowest point.
Yeah. Went to, and that happens. Certainly, do you still think about it? I do.
Okay.
But you also want to just kind of, for me, you try to find the joy and find the funny in everything. And, enjoy the fact that I'm sitting here with you guys. I don't get to see this one often. So if she calls, my niece, if she calls, sige, go him.
Thank you
Diba?
for accepting the
I
invitation.
know.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Double
Thank
whammy.
her.
Exactly.
So, but it's tough. But, and then you get through it. You don't know if it's going to come back.
Yeah.
You don't know, but it's there. You have friends who know. And then you have friends who go through it, or
Okay.
younger folks who go through it. And you maybe just want to kind of be there for them.
Yeah.
Not just say, you are depressed and you should do the... Hindi eh.
Yeah.
It's
They don't need to
sometimes
hear
it's your
that,
freaking
right?
presence, or like tayo TV, or
Nakasa yung
let's
prescriptive
just
minsan
eat
na
something, diba? Kain
mindset,
tayo sa
yeah.
labas.
just hang out.
Yeah, just hang out. Sometimes that's what you need.
It
I don't
counts.
know, And sometimes and for other people, the void is so heavy that you
When-
can't be there. And
When
let's not
2013
judge them.
came around, and you were like,
Yeah.
it's clear. Was
Yeah,
that like
yeah,
right away did it lift? Or
No,
Enjoy
that
that.
was it.
How long did
took
it
a while.
take? How long did it take
It took-
before you felt you could go back to work?
It took quite a few months for me.
Or
And
even face
families or my
again?
friends
Yeah.
were there. You're just that's again. I'm very, very fortunate that I had my family who were like, take your time. I had a job that was like, okay, we'll wait for you here. You know what? Not a lot of people are as lucky.
Right.
So I have to also think that, and that, and I'm here. I have friends who have who had breast cancer who are not here with us anymore. They were actually diagnosed after me.
and then they,
Some have five.
passed
Some had
faster.
5 kids.
Wow.
Some had,
Oh my.
and I'm like, okay, why am I
That's-
still here? Diba? I have
Yeah.
kind of useless
Gives
here.
you super
Yeah.
perspective on things.
Some people say, I can say you're masamang damo. Or some say, because you have a purpose.
Yeah.
And then you believe what you want to believe. You do what you want to do. And you just hope that you're compassionate enough that you've touched people and that you can continue to touch people. Whether it's 1 person, 5 people, 10 people, 20, whatever, doesn't matter. Just, try to be kind. Try to be compassionate. Try to be joyful. Doesn't happen all the time, but you can
Lifetimes
try,
are really
right?
short. Right?
Yeah, I mean, My sister now, she's
Yeah, tell us.
47, and she was diagnosed stage 4
Okay.
cancer.
Sorry to hear it.
But she is in such freaking ass good spirits that, you know, that
I'm sure you're happy
makes
with her out with
you
that.
and everyone else around her feel better. If she can pull herself and be positive for her kids and for her mother and for the whole family and her friends, why not? It will make everything else easier for her and for us.
That's the best mindset
Diba?
you can have,
Cause-
probably.
Diba? Kasi the depression, if you were all depressed and also sad and
Wala na.
whatever,
Wala.
You're
wala,
not-
mas madali kang,
You just sit around staring at each other.
yeah, and then you won't heal as quickly. Diba? And for me, that's the thing. If, you know what, it's tougher pa nga for the people around
You, yeah, sometimes.
than it is for you.
And you mentioned, Rita, that it was your decision to get the other one removed,
Yeah.
like right away, because you felt imbalanced. And
Yeah.
You felt like weird.
Yeah.
But a lot of people aren't brave enough to do that. So, in terms of that, do you feel that since it's cancer awareness,
Mm-hmm.
do you feel that it's that kind of approach that people with the disease now have to take?
Yeah, and for
Preventive,
me
yeah.
also, it's also
Don't hold on to your
yeah, and it's certainly everyone's decision.
Yeah.
It's a very personal decision. Some people want to get reconstruction, which is fantastic.
reconstruction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they
It's an option now.
To
It's an
replace
option
the
now.
one that they lost,
Yeah.
yes.
and that's fantastic. And there's some awesome, brilliant tattoo artists who do, you know, these trompe-l'oeil
Work
kind
around
of.
the
yeah,
scars,
around the
yes.
scars.
Yes, I've seen those.
So that's awesome. I chose not to get reconstruction during my mastectomy
Why?
because my doctor was saying, you know what, try to avoid the infection, because if you're doing chemo,
Right.
your immune system goes
down, yeah.
is super down.
Yeah.
So the healing process of the reconstruction will take
You
longer,
would have to wait.
and you might get infection and then do
That's it.
diba? So I'm like, you know what, let's just remove it, and then I'll go to the plastic surgeon after. And then after that, I was like, you know what, I don't want to have to go through another surgery.
Operation, yeah.
And then you can't keep on thinking about it, and you know what? I
Why?
don't need
Why hold on
boobs.
to it?
I don't need boobs. So, you know, which is very strange for a lesbian
I
to
was
say.
gonna ask. Do you?
You know,
I was gonna ask.
but you know what? But then you think about it, you know what? People will fall in love me. I'm sorry. People will love me with or without boobs. And then that becomes a body accepting
And confidence
acceptance
issue.
issue, whatever.
But does it?
You know.
Does
and
it-
then you go, "Oh, look at me, kind of nice cars. Oh, diba? You know, you just
It's a good
try to
story,
be
too.
positive, you know. Sometimes I'm like, you know, I have no scars. I mean, I have no boobs, but you
Actually,
know.
I wanted to ask.
Yeah, awesome scar.
I wanted to ask what that feels like, being confronted with that every time you look in a mirror, for example, or at the beginning. At the
It's
beginning.
a body acceptance issue.
Was there
Did it take
anything
a
that?
while?
So
or-
it, you know, and that helps me. I have this woman I go to. She's just fantastic. She's my spiritual advisor, or whatever. I mean, and really, it's nurturing, self care, and self love.
Okay.
I mean, you have no scars.
Right.
I mean, you have no boobs. You have scars, but you also have a big fat ass. So you know, you kind of have to deal with that too.
Okay.
So it's just, it is what it is. Some people are, you know,
As in-
what the magazines say are beautiful. That's fantastic. And some are like me with, you know, a big fat ass and no chest. You kind of gotta love yourself for it too. And, you know, and it's just, we come in different shapes and sizes and colors and whatever. And it's that diversity that we have to celebrate and embrace and accept.
Is that the kind of like message that you want to give to
Yes.
people?
And so you need
especially
to
women
become
fighting today.
Yeah, you need to be compassionate, whether you know
When it gets tough, like
it's hard to be a woman in this age of Trump and other things. Diba? And Harvey frickin' Weinstein.
Yep.
Who's been doing it for
everyone.
years.
Yeah. So it's tough for us. We have to work twice as hard and and in heels, as Ginger Rogers had said, and backwards and in
backwards,
heels, right?
and heels.
And it's being a woman, and then you have your body issues that you need to accept, and then and we have you're a minority, you're not white. That's tough.
It's another minority of a minority.
Yeah, and then you're gay or lesbian. That's also tough.
Thrice.
Yeah, I'm like,
Quota sa
triple,
dayan.
people say it's triple jeopardy. I love it. I'm like in the States. I'm like,
Quota sa diversity.
yeah, I'm like an HR person's dream.
Yeah.
Diba? You think
So,
of it that way.
We need one of those, or all three.
I'm like, like,
That's what I was gonna ask. I mean, did they ever, your managers or your bosses ever have a problem? Like, wait, we can't tell her not to do anything because
no, I've had the best people around me who mentored me and took me under their wing and taught me everything. And if I made mistakes, just say, okay, this is next time. This is when. And people who who helped me out and who saw that I worked hard. I had enough. Hopefully creativity, brain, aesthetics, whatever it is, that, and that you worked hard, that you were there 2 hours before everyone else, and then that you leave an hour after everyone else.
and that's the kind of
Yeah.
boss you are now to your
Yeah. Yeah.
I would like to hope so, but, I also have a team, our manager does everything. I'm the, I do, I design, whatever, but she does everything else.
cracks the whip.
Executes. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but she does it in the, everyone loves her because she's masayahin also. Diba? And same with me. So it's a happy, my whole family can do this without, say, our manager, without, say, our production guy or our carpentero there. It's a whole team thing. And if anyone is having a hard time, then we help that person. So everyone's, diba? It's just it's reciprocal.
Okay.
So hopefully I am, but it's really more them than me. I'm just the banjo.
Recently, the statistics say that there's hindi naman sharp, but there's a gradual increase in cancer in women these days. Especially in young women. Is there anything you'd like to impart to them in terms of parang any useful tips? Especially when it's at their worst.
Useful tips, there's quite a lot, and and anyone who's listening to this and who wants some tips, my tips are different from someone else's, but certainly message me, and that's key too, is having someone who's gone through it share
Exactly.
and just say, what, when your hair falls off and it becomes katepot coconut oil, that helps.
That helps.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or, take an immune booster. Or, freaking me kasi, me, I needed to gain weight kasi so you need to eat, but when you're doing chemo,
You don't have an appetite.
you don't have an appetite.
Or sense of taste.
And everything tastes metallic. My
Again,
doctor was like,
things-
what, kainin mo, eat whatever you want.
Okay. Just eat.
I ate too much.
It's always a good
Awesome.
saying.
Ice cream is awesome.
Ice cream.
Parang like 2 gallons a week of super mocha. Oh
Wow.
my, like cappuccino of FIC. Parang I was the only chemo patient that gained weight. Yung punyeta naman. Kaka-cancer ka na, hindi pa ako
Hindi pa ako,
pumayat. Ano ba?
Tumaba pa
Nakakainis,
nga
di ba? But anyway, you know, you kind
the
of
little
make
things. You were-
fun of that. You always find the funny. I say that all the time. Try to find the funny. And then, you know,
You're
but
telling us about the bra. Like, should I wear a bra? Should I not?
yeah. Now, oh
There's
my
no
God.
one cup
Now
bras.
I'm like saving so much money and not having to go to buy bras or there. Or when I'm like running, I mean, you guys can't
Yeah.
figure it out, but us women, we're running. Ay, walang baba na bouncing boobs. It's masakit in the back. Diba? I'm like, eh.
Exercise regimens.
So, you know, and celebrate your scars, whatever scars they may be.
Definitely.
You know, and talk to someone.
talk
It's
to
good to
someone,
talk to
yeah,
someone. Or
Do-
even if you
don't-
don't want to talk, be there with someone.
Don't put it on all of
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah.
Just to wrap up, let me ask you though, what's the most surprising thing about
Yeah,
all
that you
of
learn
this?
about yourself. Probably.
What really surprised you about your experience?
Shoots, nothing surprises me anymore. But what I'm the most happy with is just that finding joy, and as I was just saying, finding the funny. That's important. Because everyone, you know, you laugh, it's so contagious. You know, you're compassionate, you're whatever, you're positive, that's so contagious. You want to put out the positive as opposed to the negastars. That's
neg-
always going to be there. So at least, you know, try. Try as best you can.
The Negatrons.
Yeah. Diba? Just, yeah, find the funny, man. Find the joy in everything. There's always a silver lining somewhere.
On that note,
At the end of the day,
Thank
that's
you.
all any of us can really do.
Yeah.
where can we find your bags, the products?
Zacharias1925.com. We're also in Facebook, Instagram. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of stores in Japan, in Europe, Australia, and that it's available in. And here in Manila, it's at Afro. So, thanks
you.
for having me, man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That was like
thank you for the
super awesome.
yes, very candid, in a good
Yeah.
way.
I know how to win an
Yeah.
Emmy now.
Yeah, me too. Let's work on that. We'll have to cut off one of your boobs. All
Oh
right.
no.
So thank you so much.
Thank
It's
you.
very eye-opening,
Awesome.
and we hope anyone listening, we hope you guys learned something.
Call Rita.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thanks.